and welcome to another episode of Great News. I don't know why Mike's face looks like that. I'm Kevin Ryder. This is Mike Catherwood. And we bring you stories that give you hope. That's basically what we do on this podcast.
That's what we do as people. In general,
Yes.
Kevin and I give people hope.
I'm not positive that's true.
Yes, our existence gives
It
people
is true.
hope.
All right. So for our intro, let's hear John Wayne.
John Wayne?
Yeah, John Wayne.
Well, Pilgrim, it's an intro.
No, I can't do John Wayne, dude. I'd have to
What?
see some John Wayne.
All right. Willie Nelson.
It's an intro. Show's about to begin, bro. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blues. Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
I don't think he'd be proud of it, but listen,
In his condition now, he'd be like,
he would be
"Who has
ecstatic.
my pudding?"
All right, my first story is a very moving story. It's about a woman named Yahara Moore, and I have some personal experience with this type of story because I help run a charity for abused women and children. And the idea of getting out of an abusive relationship and starting over is daunting. I can't imagine. You have no money. You don't have a job for the most part, and you literally have to run to a shelter. And this particular shelter,
at least for temporary, in a temporary perspective, you have to be kind of anonymous.
yes,
You know,
you do
it's not
for
like
sure.
you can just go across town and be like, "Oh, Sally's over here." You got to kind of lay. I mean, so you're starting from zero.
Yes. Maybe less than zero because you're really, really trying to figure out life out and you're really mentally scarred and you have to then go. And this particular shelter that she went to, by the way, we work supporting these shelters, and most of the time we're not allowed to go to the shelter because they don't even want us to see where they are because, you know, the guys are in general looking for them. And so it's a really serious situation. And this woman was told when she checked into the shelter, and a lot of these do this exact same thing. We're going to give you a training, and we're going to tell you how to do a job interview, and we're going to give you whatever supplies you need to feel comfortable. And you have 90 days. And after 90 days, you're on your own. So let's make the best of these 90 days and make it happen. Watch what this woman accomplished. It is impossible to imagine.
I'm inspired by seeing the glow on my son's face when he gets to experience things that I didn't get to experience when I was a kid. Growing up, I didn't have an immediate role model of someone that I can actually aspire to who was leading a career. In college, my sophomore year, I got married, and quickly after, I became pregnant, and I had to make a very difficult decision to withdraw from college. I had to move into a domestic violence shelter. I would meet weekly with a director who was tracking my progress because I had 90 days until I was graduated out of that shelter to really go out into the world and start over. And she, just by chance, she handed me the flyer for Empower. Empower changed my life dramatically. I spent 14 weeks learning the fundamentals of technology. They connected me with Worldwide Technology.
So this is our research report.
Worldwide Technology and Empower are great partners because they're both on a mission to impact the community by providing young adults and veterans with career opportunities in technology. My hope for the future is to see more women of color in technology. I would hope that young Black children grow up knowing that the roles that they see on TV is actually something that they can attain for themselves.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
And by the way, she just skipped over. She had to drop out of college because go to a domestic violence shelter. And that's the only mention that she made of it. But I did find a statistic. Worldwide Technology is the company that she was talking about. White Americans dominate the highest level jobs in tech. They hold 83% of the jobs.
Yeah.
And Black Americans have 2%.
Oh.
And so she says, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give other people hope that they can do this as well.
Yeah, and to kind of add another layer, the percentage of women in tech jobs.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
Infinitesimal. So, I mean, she's like double dipping,
And I like that that didn't even play a role in her thinking.
No.
She just went for it and did it because she knew she could do it. And I think that's the kind of example that people need, which is, yes, we're underrepresented, but watch me do this. And I just love that.
Don't overlook how amazingly impactful it can be just to see someone do something. Because, and I, growing up with relative comfort, in a upper middle class world, and I certainly had adversity like anyone else does, but I truly couldn't put my mind to what it means to have real circumstances until I did this video piece about modern Bloods and Crips. And I went to these really gnarly neighborhoods in Los Angeles, Compton, by the Watts Towers and stuff like that. I was talking to these kids. These are kids, like some of them like 14 years old. And, I'm going in there thinking like, oh yeah, they see violence, they see poverty, whatever. But when I tell you, like, I was in Compton, okay, which is, I don't know, 15 miles away from where I lived in Venice Beach at the time.
Right.
And this kid had never seen the ocean. Okay. And it's just like, and so for them, when I would say things like, go to college, get a job, escape this, they're like, well, you might as well say, why don't you fly? Why don't you walk on water? It just doesn't seem reasonable. So the power of being able to see someone from those circumstances do that is unbelievably meaningful.
Her name is Yahira Moore is her name, and she is a fantastic human being. Yeah,
she's really, really, and I think that it's important that you pointed out how she just in passing kind of mentioned, I had to escape because of domestic abuse, because this is not a woman who is going to even for 1 second acknowledge that she's a victim somehow.
Right. She was. She absolutely was. She had to quit college and run to a shelter. Mm-hmm. So if victim is ever used correctly, it's used here. But she
she's
didn't
not going to
see herself that way. Right.
It's not empowering.
So
and
it's amazing.
Really, really, really amazing. All right, Kevin. Goddamn Tom Brady.
What's he doing now? How old is he? 42, 43?
I think he's exactly I think he's 42. And
42, okay.
He's impossibly good looking. He's arguably the greatest athlete ever. If you just look at performance, he has Giselle at home.
Right.
And he just keeps doing this stuff where you're like, stop. What are you doing? You can't be this good, right? So if you remember, I actually covered the initial part of this story on Great News. There was this young kid, Noah Reeb, 10 years old. And horrifically, he had brain cancer, but he survived. Okay. And he lives in the Tampa area. So he brought a sign to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Tom, you helped me survive brain cancer. Tom Brady sees this, just kind of in his periphery, sees that sign, wins the game in like triumphant fashion, makes a beeline for this kid, and goes up to the crowd and takes a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat that the team got him at the merchandise and stuff, signs it and gives it to the kid, and the kid's crying. Tom Brady's high-fiving him, and he's like,
I remember that. We were mad at him then.
Yeah, we were like, fuck you, Tom. You make me feel like shit. Okay, so let's now catch up with young 10-year-old Noah Reeb and see what Tom Brady is doing now. Check out this video.
Hey Noah, what's up, man? Happy New Year. I know it's been a while. I hope you've been enjoying the season so far. We're grinding and getting ready to start the playoffs, but earlier you held up that sign that I helped you beat brain cancer. Well, listen, your fight, you've inspired so many people, including myself, but millions of others also. And the NFL and the Bucs look forward to sending deserving fans to the Super Bowl each year and fans that have incredible stories like the one you've had. So as a thank you, I worked with both the Bucks and the NFL to get you and your family Super Bowl tickets this year in LA. We certainly hope to be there, but I know you're going to be there. It's going to be really cool for all of us. So glad to see you're doing well. Take care, man. And enjoy the tickets. Let's go.
Look inside.
So what do you say to Tom Brady in that phone?
Thank you so much.
You say, let's go Bucks!
Let's go Bucks!
Listen,
God damn it.
it's a little bit funny that the Bucks aren't going to be in the Super Bowl, though, right? They got eliminated.
It's a little bit funny for Tom. It's not funny for poor Noah.
No, agree. But Noah's going to have his
if
head blown by being
Noah
at
could
SoFi.
be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Tom wins Super Bowl and walks the trophy out to the kid, and you know what I'm saying? Like, but for him, yeah, fuck him.
All right, my next story is about the firefighters in Ottawa, Canada. Monday, after there were 15 inches of snow that fell, they all jumped out, and there was an ambulance that was stuck in the snow. And watch what these firefighters did. They just said, you know what? We're moving this ambulance. We're just going to get it out of where it is. Look at this. And the struggle it is. Like, it doesn't get pushed out easily. It takes a decent amount of time. Now it's moving sideways. They're like, dude, what do you steer straight?
Come on. Dude. And by the way, they have their fire suits on, which I believe I have a lot of friends that are firefighters. It's close to 65 pounds.
It is super heavy, yeah. That's true. Look at them. And finally, the ambulance gets out of the snow. This was on Twitter. And I saw the first response on Twitter was, wouldn't it have been quicker just to get the person out of the ambulance and carry him to safety?
Well, maybe.
We don't know that anyone
think
was
they
in there.
had to clear the area. Like, they had to clear the roadway, probably.
Of course, yeah. We don't know that anybody was in the ambulance, but firefighters are a different breed of person as well. They see a problem and they say, yeah, we can do something about that. Let's do it.
If you're a car person, and I love cars, and I've had lots of classic cars, which means old, which oftentimes, because I'm not Jay Leno, means shitty. You know what it's like to push cars. Okay. On paved road, pushing a car, especially a big van like that, is
even with
fucking hard.
Even with 3 or 4 people. Yes. That's really incredibly hard.
In the snow was probably impossibly hard.
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
Yep.
Here's a nice, simple, no sadness, uplifting story for you, Kevin.
I have the same thing to follow yours.
It's crazy how legitimately old people, like, well, let's say senior, 70 and above, right? They have these weird situations where they don't know things like pop culture things. They know important stuff, like what it means to be a good person, but they don't know Twitter. They don't know fucking movies and shit.
Yeah, they don't care.
Just don't know,
either.
Right?
Yeah.
And because of that, they find themselves in these extraordinary situations. Okay. So let's put up the first slide. This is one of the craziest. So guy posts this on Twitter. Okay. So my mom told me this story about how my aunt and uncle ran into a celebrity at a bar and became friends with him, and she couldn't remember his name. My aunt just sent me these pictures. Look at this. Look.
I'm sorry.
They just said he was this nice Texas boy. He was a local, and he was so sweet. I guess he said he was an actor. It's fucking Matt McConaughey. And they're like full on chilling in their house, hanging out with Matt McConaughey, drinking beer.
And who do you think would go into someone's house more than Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, yeah. Oh, especially those people. Because they're like, you want to come watch football, drink some beer? Matt McConaughey's like, oh, all right. But
that is crazy.
Awesome. Matt McConaughey is awesome.
Yeah, I
just hear all these stories. But he's a weird mixture of like hippie, like weed smoking hippie dude, and also like full on Texas good old boy. Like he loves steak and Texas football, but he also loves like like, energy centers and meditation in, in Fiji. Like, it's a weird combination.
And he hacky sacks a fair amount.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very weird. But either way, he's by all accounts just a cool guy, and that's another example of it. But I have a similar. I have the. So this didn't happen to me, but it happened to a guy I knew really well. I forgot his name, but he was a successful rock guitar player, and this especially back in that era. This was like the early 2000s, late 90s. He was like in that rap rock world and stuff, but he was on tour with like a lower tier band, but he runs into this while he's on tour. He runs into this old nice woman and on tour, and she's like, "Well, what do you do for a living?" He's like, "Oh, I play guitar in a rock band." She said, "So does my grandson. He loves to play guitar. You should come over and play guitar with him." And of course, he's like, "Okay, yeah,
right, yeah, all right, I will. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, yeah."
And so he totally blows her off. He literally lies to her and says, "Oh no, we're busy. We got." So he doesn't go and he doesn't play, but he gets her tickets. He's like, "You should come to the show. It's
to their show, okay."
And she's like, "Oh, I would love to. I'll bring them." She comes to the show and brings pictures. This is back before like people had iPhones. She brings physical pictures, and it's fucking Head from Korn.
That's fantastic.
He's like, "Oh, what? That's your grandson? Oh, can I still
fantastic.
Come over?"
Yeah, no kidding. Is that offer still available? That's fantastic. Wow. All right, we talk about animals a lot. This is Millie the Jack Russell Whippet cross. I'm not positive what a whippet is, but it's a type of dog in this case.
Isn't that nitrous? Like when you huff nitrous?
Yes, it can be. Yes. This dog was stranded and the tide was rising. And there were a bunch of people that saw that the ground around where the dog was starting to get flooded and was soon going to be underwater. Okay. And so the police were called and they went out and they tried to get the dog and they could not get the dog. It would run away from them. And then they tried to get some neighbors tried. A bunch of different people tried. And Millie was not having any of it. She was staying where she was, even though she was in danger. And then a guy named Chris Taylor, who is the chair of the Denmead Drone Search and Rescue Group. So they use drones to help rescue people, whatever. And he said, what if we took a sausage and hung it from a rope from the drone? Yes, I know. It sounds ridiculous. And I know all of your jokes too.
No, but I wasn't even going for once. Okay. I wasn't even going to like sexual places. I was going to like, go ahead. That's how Bugs Bunny would solve this problem.
Yes. Watch the video of this guy with his drone and a sausage luring the dog out of the dangerous area. This is Millie, a Jack Russell Whippet.
Oh, cute dog.
She's stranded, dangerous mudflats in Hampshire. I believe this is in England. Too. In a bid to get Millie to safer ground, rescuers attached a sausage to a drone to coax her away. God. And look at, he puts the sausage right in front of the dog's face and then moves it away like, come on, luring him.
Come to sausage.
A little closer. Come on, Millie.
Oh my God. She was eventually caught.
She was eventually caught and is now home safe.
I hope they gave her the sausage.
I didn't mention that part of the story. I assume they did.
Better give her the sausage. That's amazing.
Isn't that something? Like, who would think of that?
Sounds like a Charlie Chaplin bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we'll helicopter over a sausage, and the dog will come running.
And it worked. That's crazy.
That's cool. That's a great story. I love that. So this last one, I think everyone can relate to, because whether you're hosting a podcast or whether you're an attorney, you've spent some time in the last couple of years working from home.
Right.
And you do these Zoom meetings and you try your best, especially if you're not the boss, you try your best to still maintain as best a business world decorum as you can and to be as professional as possible. And that's what this young man was doing when he was entering this Zoom video. So in the upper right-hand corner, you see this the black fella. He's working from home, and he's clearly
keeping it professional. He's wearing a tie.
Trying his best to be professional because someone of a managerial position to him is in the left corner. Well, he had to go answer the door, get up, or do something. Someone came into the room and check it out. So he's like, "Oh,
Let me just lock the door, please.
I'm very sorry, sir." He gets and he has his like boxer shorts on.
Nice shorts. Nice shorts, Josiah.
So his boss says, "Nice shorts."
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. This is embarrassing. Please forgive me. It's no problem, Josiah. No problem at all.
So his boss gets up. He's like, "Listen, it's embarrassing, but it's no problem, Josiah. No problem at all. Let me close the door." He gets up and he has his underwear on too.
Please, just hold on. It's no problem.
Come on.
Nice shorts. Nice shorts,
I like when boss says nice shorts.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. This is embarrassing. Please forgive me. It's no problem, Josiah. No problem at all.
Come on. Taking
That's fantastic.
Substandard situation of having to be separated and not necessarily doing what you want to do in the workplace and making some fun out of it. I love it.
I do love that too. All right. If you like this podcast, subscribe to it and click the little thing that tells you when we post them, which is Mondays and Thursdays, and let other people know about it because it brings you some balance in your life. You don't have all negative input. Mike, I have a suggestion for the outro. John Wayne. All right. Bob Dylan.
Is an intro. Excuse me.
It's the outro.
Outro. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, bro. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blue. Giving in my hand, who getting great news.